set it up that way. You allowed them to pick the channel.
See?
What?
That's it.
So if I go, hold on, let me see what happens if I go across and see it. Put in the thingy, bro.
Put in what thing?
What, dude, I don't want them to see an empty chair.
So. Look at a clip in the middle, Ronaldo! Look at a clip in the middle, Ronaldo!
Hey, what's going on, everybody? How's it going? Working through some issues here and there. You know what? I'm on the road a lot, so it just and Bert is he's not lazy. It's not what he is. But producer Bert. By the way, welcome to the Journey of the Podcast. Carlos Mencia here. Producer Bert over there. Show yourself, Bert. So what am I going to say about Bert? Bert has gotten accustomed to working unnatural hours as far as time goes, but he doesn't go into work and produce 8 hours a day. So when it comes to technical stuff, like I recorded the goal that Ronaldo did, and it's in the computer, but we're having an issue playing it large enough for everybody to see it. Anyway.
Oh, you know what? We got to restart because we were doing it on your other page, not the, you know what I mean?
All right.
So it's a different.
You know what? We're going to start over again in 2 minutes. I apologize. How'd you do that?
It should change. Because we're not, because that's where it stops, see? So it's connecting. All right, we're good.
One is online, the other one not.
It's live.
It's not connected yet, bro.
Stealth live.
Huh?
It's stealth health live.
Every time you restart,
I think we have to get another key for both. Let's just get another key for both. See, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. You're going to have to stop the stream, though.
Yeah. All right.
all of this because what I want to do is just have you guys have as much possible access
Damn it.
that you can.
Oh, we're good. I had forgot that you. So all that stuff you said in the beginning, I forgot to hit the mute button because I always hit the mute button so that nobody hears anything. And then we're good though. So it was a couple minutes. Of
Oh my God. Fuck.
Bro,
I'm gonna
there's
start all over
no,
again.
we're not gonna start all over again.
Yeah, I'm gonna start all over
Oh,
again.
fuck.
It was important, bro. The whole
That
stuff
wasn't
was
important.
Yes,
Yeah.
it was important. How is it not important?
Bro, people are already online. Why are we gonna make them go offline? And dude, it's fine. It's good.
No, I'm saying I'm gonna start over again
Oh,
with
okay.
what
Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
said.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh,
Yeah, no,
this
go for
fucking
it.
guy.
Oh, I didn't. I thought you meant like
So-
we're gonna have to start all over. I'm like,
No, we don't have to start the broadcast over again. That's fine. I'm sure. I'm sure that what happened was he was looking at the computer and somebody said, "Where the fuck is the sound?"
Yeah, dude, I was like, well, because what it is when I put the intro, I always mute our mics so that nobody hears anything. Well,
Okay, so here's what I was saying earlier. It's
fucking
exactly what this is.
crazy.
Albert doesn't have, producer Bert does not have a 9 to 5 here. Right?
What's up, Primo Danny?
He comes up, hey, Primo Danny, how's it going? He comes, when he has to, and, when I need him, he'll show up. But so there's a flexibility there.
Damn, I shouldn't have said anything.
Which stops him sometimes from kind of taking initiative and coming in and learning technical stuff. We figure it out here. So today, here's an example. We bought some new lights, the one back here that's blue, the one up there, to give a little more color to it, right? Now, these lights can be programmed to this light switch that has panels and makes different colors.
From fucking China.
So last week, I said to Bert, hey, man, call the company and figure out how to connect these so that we can, use the panel to do them instead of going in the back and hitting 50 switches and making sure that 2 is up and 3 is down and 4 so you can get a variable color that you want. And, of course, I came in and producer Bert hadn't done that because he was like, well, I thought I had to be in the office in order to get that done.
But the lights look fucking good, so.
Which, by the way, means that he has not been in the office since last Monday.
But the lights look fucking amazing.
So anyway, I came in and I wanted to both simulcast at the same time to YouTube and to Facebook. And I just had another card lying around that I had purchased that I never used that I can't return anymore, a video card, a capture card. And so I was figuring out how to do that. And then Albert found a service that actually streams both at the same time and everything worked out. But then, okay, like anytime we do anything different, it fucks with
Dude,
Bert's whole system.
Fucking, yeah.
Because last week he forgot to actually record the audio portion
Right,
of it.
because we didn't go to Facebook Live. We did YouTube Live. So I was...
Because we didn't do Facebook Live
because
last
we were
week.
doing all kind of other shit instead of me, doing what I usually do. I come
Do
in
we
and
need a
do-
checklist for you? Is that like going to work for you? No, for real though. Do
No.
you think that would work for you? Just
No.
like having a checklist and you come in and check it and
thought
go,
you
okay,
check
we need
this.
this, we need this, we need this, and then get that done.
I'll show you something to check.
I'm being real. Do you think you
Yeah, me
need that? He's getting upset. You guys should have seen him when we say a long time ago, Masantes Bert. Oh, Masantes Bert was, Bert, can you put the camera on yourself and make the Masantes face that you used to make when I used to tell you to do stuff? Can you?
Bro, I've had that face fucking all day today. I'm not even going to put the camera on me.
For real?
No.
It's
Yeah.
been a bad day?
Yeah.
No, okay, so Bert's dragging shit in here that he doesn't want to talk about. And I don't put producer Bert stuff out there because, he's producer Bert, and if he ever wants to talk about personal stuff, that's cool. If not, I don't want to get him in trouble. He's not part of, he's not part of the show. We're just going to make fun of him and do all that kind of stuff. So that's not how it works. But you're okay? You're doing all right?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right. So the last part was I wanted to play the goal that Cristiano Ronaldo, the bicycle kick he scored today. But we haven't figured out how to make it big screen, and we could play it right now for you, but it's going to be tiny and pixelated because it seemed to not be in the largest capacity that it should. But you can go to my you can go to my Instagram and my Twitter, and it's there if you want to see it. Amazing goal. I'm a huge Real Madrid fan, have been for a long, long time, and you know, watching the team play is amazing. Watching Cristiano Ronaldo and Messi at the same time. I mean, I've seen the predecessors, and watching anybody incredible and amazing what they do is just astonishing. I mean, it's not the Olympics, of course. The Olympics are even more amazing to me, even though we never really got into them, talked about them, because I, as a performer, can identify with like working your whole life and having just one moment encapsulate everything that you are in a good or a bad way, right? So I can pinpoint moments in my life when somebody came to see me perform. I'd say when my manager came to see me perform, and then he introduced me to Robert Morton, and Robert Morton produced mine and Mencia, and so those moments I can get. You work your entire life, and all of a sudden, somebody from Comedy Central is here to see you perform, and if you kill it, you're gonna get something, and if you don't, you're not. And I can identify with that so much in a positive way. I can also identify with the moment in time, a video that's on YouTube that talks about me plagiarizing, and that's a negative thing. That one moment in time where I was so pissed off that I was being accused of shit, and I was trying every single time to address it. I actually went on stage and said, who the fuck am I, why is everybody talking shit? I'm right here. I've wanted to, and that got turned into something completely different, edited, whatever. It doesn't even matter. It's a long time ago. My point is this: for positive or negative, I can identify with that. And, watching games like today, and watching a bicycle kick of that sort, you just go in from a guy. By the way, here's the interesting thing: I've seen him try to do that many times before and missed. This just happened to be in one of the biggest games, and it was amazing. It was fucking amazing. I couldn't go nuts though, because my kid was asleep. So I was like, but I was just, I mean, he'll tell you, I go,
my goodness.
I go ape shit when I'm watching games. You know what I'm going to do one day? But see, somebody already did. Look, I heard that somebody did this, if I'm not mistaken. There's a comedian that I think who loves the Yankees or something like that, and he records himself watching the Yankees going nuts when they, and so I don't want to do that. That's one thing that I have to stay away from. Anything that looks or sounds like anything somebody else might have possibly done or some shit like that, because people just jump on me forever. So, it is what it is. And I try not to give a shit about it. If I'm inspired by something, I'm inspired by something from, that happens in real life. I'll give you an example of how things change. Anybody that came out to see me last week in Arlington, by the way, thank you guys for the sold out shows. But anybody that came out to see me in Arlington will tell you that I did a joke about how men are the ones that, do mass shootings. And so the joke was, the premise of it is that everybody snaps. But when it comes to mass shootings, white men are the number one, and then blacks and Latinos when they snap. But it's a different. I'm not going to do the joke. It's a really long premise. Point is that I would say, but you know who never does it? Women. And I would say five people got shot. A man did it. I could still say that 5 people got shot, right? Anything over 5, because today's was only 3. But I say women never did it. Now I'm going to have to adjust it to say women rarely do it. Women almost never do it. Oh, yeah, women will shoot 1 or 2, but they never go if 5 people. So all those things have to be adjusted, and that's why I try to give you guys as much stuff as possible. So what I was trying to say earlier is we were stuck on all this stuff, trying to simulcast YouTube, Facebook at the same time, trying to figure out all the algorithms, trying to see, when to put them out, how to put them out, how much content to put out, because I just want you guys to have as much as humanly possible. And unlike back in the day where I needed ABC or NBC or HBO to say, hey, we're going to put you out there, I put out a video, a bit of Mencia that got 5.3 or 5.4 million hits. A TV show that gets 5.4 million views is like a top 20 show. So, you know, I'm loving it, and I'm loving the youth, and I'm loving the influence, and I'll have conversations with anybody. Just know that if you're a hater, it's not that I don't want to talk to you. It's just, I'm just gonna block you, and let me tell you why. Because you guys say blah blah blah, you fucking did this and you stole that and you did this, and I'll say, okay, well, let's address one of those. And anytime I address it, they just go, yeah, well, fuck you, your shit anyway. It doesn't. Talking to you is like trying to suck my own dick. I really, really wish that I could. I really want to enjoy it, but I fucking can't. And that's how you are. I just can't talk to you people. Case in point, somebody was telling me about a bit that we did on Mind and Mencia, where we did Jesus Christ had a wife. Now, Sam Kinison, I guess, did a bit about that. Here's the thing. None of us really saw the bit. But even if we did, we were inspired as writers by, and this was back in the day when the movie The Da Vinci Code came out. And the Da Vinci Code came out, and the whole premise was he had children, and the lineage of those children still exists today, and that's the Holy Grail, the church hiding that Jesus Christ actually banged Mary Magdalene, and that was his wife. And so, yeah, we did a bit about that because it was relevant and important. And, you know, as it was different than a stand-up bit. It was, you know, but you know, people are gonna say what they're gonna say. And I told them, I said, this is how it was inspired. Go check it out. And then of course it's like, oh, fuck you anyway, blah blah blah. You know, whatever. It's been this way forever, and it is our deal. And so for you haters, no, I'm not afraid of you. You just don't have a fucking open mind. You don't have an open mind. You just want to hate. And so, you know, I'm sorry that you feel that way. And I hope some kind of happiness enters your life where you don't want to be a hater. Or
that is their happiness.
Maybe that is, but I'm not going to give you that happiness because I don't want to live in that. That's futile for me. I mean, what's the whole point? Like I said, again, I would love to reach it, but I can't. So I can't suck my dick. So I'm just not going to talk to you. I just can't. But anyway,
I sit on your back.
But today, wow, it was interesting because, you know, a woman did a shooting. Now, I don't know that we consider it a mass shooting because we don't know exactly what. This seems to be a case where we don't know enough yet. It just happened where a woman was pissed at a specific amount of people or specific people, and then but we'll figure it out. But yet it's so bizarre to turn on the TV and hear that, you know, there was a shooting. We have a live shooter scenario, and it's a woman. That's just bizarre because women tend to not snap like that. And I mean, look, is it nurture or nature? I'm not sure. But the joke that I do about it is because women talk. Women fucking talk. Women, you know, don't hold their fucking feelings in. They talk. They tell you what they're going through. They tell you what they're feeling. They tell you their emotions. They're you know, and I think that leads them to not be so fucking repressed the way men are, you know, just, oh, we're okay, whatever, it's a normal day. I mean, you know, I'm sure that I'm sure that when producer gets home tonight, if it's later than he's supposed to and everybody's asleep and he wakes anybody up, somebody's going to say, like, what happened? And his response is probably going to be, fuck, whatever. It's not important. It just took too long. Like, what would you say, Bert? What's going to be your response? I'm your wife, and I go, babe, what happened?
That's exactly what I say. You know what? I fucked up, and, you know, whatever. It is what it is, and we just went on. It's kind of late.
Right.
You know, we were running late. But it's
my
fault.
Right. So, okay. And I want you women to understand something. That in a man's mind, he legitimately answered the question. He didn't hide anything. He didn't pretend nothing happened. He said, we had some issues. It is what it is. We moved on. It was later than normal, but we made it happen. Right? To a man, it's like the major components of what needs to be said are being said. They're right there. Problem is, well, not problem. Problem, I guess, when we communicate with each other. But what we, I think that because we don't put out the little things, the annoying things, because we don't say, because he doesn't say, well, fucking Ned came in and last minute wanted me to put some shit on it. I don't know how to do it, so I tried to figure it out. Because he didn't say those little things. Instead of saying all that, he said, we had some technical issues. Maybe there's a little bit of repressed data, so to speak, that, you know what I mean? If you don't defragment your own hard drive, it just comes out at some point. Women will tell you exactly. I know I have 11 sisters and 8 of them were born in a row. And if Albert was my sister and she was married and she got back home and her man was like, what happened? She would be like, oh my God, it was horrible. First of all, Ned wanted to do all this crazy stuff that he never told me about, and how am I supposed to know how to do this stuff if he doesn't even tell me? So he throws it on me. I'm there about 15 minutes early. I figure 15 minutes is enough, but that's not even enough, right? Then he starts doing all this other stuff, and and I don't even know if he planned on going back home for dinner or he had dinner earlier.
I already had dinner.
So all those things weigh in, and they become a factor, a matter of everything else, but it was shocking to me to hear that a woman did it. Because I know it's fucked up in terms of but as a comedian, anytime something happens that makes me address or change something, some bit that I'm doing that I really enjoy, I'm just like, oh fuck. You know which one did it? Okay, I'll give you an example. So I do a bit when I'm on stage where I say in the middle of the show at some point during the show, I say, laugh as much as you possibly can, especially if you're a white male. Laugh because if you're white, you want to laugh and you come to shows, but you don't know if you could, and it's kind of an edgy show, and then it gets racial, and then you get weird, and then you hold it in, and that's why you're the serial killers. And, I up until recently was talking about how, just talking about 2000 recently, the 3 white men that snap, because I said when white men snap, holy shit, you hold in so much angst that by the time you do snap, you indiscriminately want to kill everybody. And I went back, all the way through 2017 and the beginning of 2018, I can talk about the 3 guys, right, that were white that did it. It was the white guy in Virginia that tried to shoot everybody at a park, the white guy in Texas that tried to shoot everybody at church, and the white guy in Vegas that tried to shoot everybody at a concert. Those are legit, right? Then I say, but everybody snaps, because I don't want to just I always try to see the other sides. I don't think anybody's better than anybody else. I try to find cause and effect in my comedy to kind of make you think but laugh. And so I go, hey, listen, a black guy snapped, as well last year, or I'd say earlier this year. And this is true. He got fired from his job, went back to his job, and shot 6 to 8 people. I'm not sure how many. The difference there is he wasn't mad at everybody, so he didn't try to kill everybody. And the joke is about that. And plus, this guy, this is a true story, by the way, he got fired. 30 days later, he came back. And the joke is he wanted to shoot everybody, but he didn't. He was like, I want to shoot you, but I'm going to wait till I get my unemployment check. And then when he gets his check, it's too small. So he goes back and he shoots everybody, but he didn't shoot the guy that replaced him. He let that guy go because he wasn't mad at him, which proves the point of that, look, yeah, this guy snapped and he held in so long that he tried to kill everybody. This guy didn't hold it in, waited a month, but he didn't kill everybody. And then I talk about Latinos. We rarely do mass murders like that. But it's also because, we will stab or get, Bert will tell you, a lot of our family reunions ended with, somebody stabbing somebody with a fork. My sister stabbed me with a fork. I mean, just there's a lot of passion in the Latino culture. And it a lot of screaming, a lot of, it's not even screaming. It's just passion. And if you don't understand what I'm talking about, just just watch a soccer game in English. That's all you got to do. Just watch it in English and you'll see there's a technical aspect to it. He's passing the ball better than he's passed it before, but it's an amazing, it's that kind of a feel. And even when it gets, he's through, that was close, and then just, if you have it, just turn the same game and listen to it in Spanish. And it's a different game. Se pasa la bola ahí, se pasa la bola, pero no, ¿por qué no la pasa? Está esperando la bola allí. And it's the passion of it. And so I talk about the Latino last year that snapped, the Puerto Rican guy that shot up the people in Fort Lauderdale at the airport, and how he only emptied one clip, and then that was it, because he didn't plan it. He didn't have more bullets from what I know. Anyway, there's a lot of humor that goes into it that I'm not performing it right now. But my point is this. After all that, to make the point, right, that we all snap, but women don't snap. So I used to say, except for women. Women never snap. So now, the minute I heard that it was a woman, my immediate thought was, oh, fuck, man. God damn it, I can't do that joke. Or how am I going to do that joke? Or how am I going to make that joke honest and real and funny? Because I'm not going to ignore the fact that she did it, just like when that Latino kid shot up the school in Florida. Yeah, he's a Latino. Now, it got really weird because then there was some stuff about him being a white supremacist. So I don't know. And then he's adopted. So I don't know if his last name is his name or an adopted name, if he's a white kid, or I don't know. So I can still do the joke about the three guys from 2017, but that joke has a life shelf. I can only do that joke for so long. I can't be doing it. I mean, maybe for a while in 2018, I can say, well, let's take last year, for example. But I mean, once these things start happening more and more, it just becomes another thing, and all this new information comes in, and you got to take that information. And so my first thought was, this fucking bitch ruined my joke. It was, what a selfish piece of shit. Like, I wasn't even thinking about the victims or any of that. Like, that was the first thing I thought about. Like, man, what am I going to do now? How am I going to fix it? How am I going to make this work? How am I going to say it? And of course, if there's a way to do it that still makes sense with the premise, I'm going to do it. And I think it still makes sense. I'll find out what it was. And then, and it's still, I can still say, listen, 99.9% of the times is never a woman. Why? And this one, I'll find out if it's a lover's quarrel, then it doesn't really go with mass shootings. So we'll see what happens, man. But my point to you guys is that when shit like that happens, is it bad, bro? Is that wrong to me that I'm thinking of like the joke and the fans and
No, because you're always thinking of jokes. Always. You're always on. So it doesn't, it's not for me, knowing you, it's nothing new. You're always on. You're always thinking of jokes. That is you.
You're right, dude. It's hard. It's like I think up until I'm 50 now. Up until I was 42, so for 8 years, I'll drink now. Sometimes, I mean, I'll get full bar every once in a while. But I mean, what I'm saying is like yesterday we had.
Dude, it's weird. It's funny.
What?
No, like before you didn't drink and now you drink. You know? Because like I'll never forget when you first started drinking. We were on the golf course in Miami,
right,
with Chris Cotto,
right,
and we were drinking beers,
right,
and then you we had a certain amount, and then you all of a sudden started drinking our beer, and we were kind of like, dude, this is weird. Like,
right.
It wasn't about sharing, but it's kind of
I understand.
What the fuck? This guy's drinking our beer,
right?
But he doesn't drink. But he does drink,
right?
It's
I know.
Funny.
Well, what happened with me was, I had led a very protected life up until then. I mean, I did everything right. You know what I mean? I not that I didn't make any mistakes, but I got good grades. I got accepted to college. I was going to college. I had a job. I was paying my own way. I didn't get a Pell Grant or a fucking Cal Grant, or I was doing it the right way. And then I tripped and fell a year and a half into after I graduated high school, and I ended up in jail for possession of sales of cocaine. And when that happened, I never did blow. I just sold it. The story somewhere. I've told the story already 1,000 times, and if anybody wants to really really hear it, I guess I'll say it some other time. But anyway, I did it. So I fixed it. I made all that go away. I stopped doing it. I got into comedy. Unlike most comedians, I didn't have an idol. I didn't. I wasn't. Chris Rock, who when he first started, or Eddie Griffin. Both. Guys that I know, won fairly well, and those guys when they first started, they were literally doing. One of them, I think, was doing Eddie Murphy. That he was doing Eddie Murphy's act, and the other one I think was doing Richard Pryor. But that's how we all start. The difference for me was I didn't know who Richard Pryor was or any of those guys. I didn't know comedy. I was an immigrant who knew, go to school, and I was lucky if I could get to watch it older and got my own TV. I didn't know any of that stuff. So I didn't try to be one guy. I tried to be Charles Cozart and John Caponera and Paul Rodriguez and Paul Mooney. And, even though I didn't do I couldn't do jokes that they were doing because they were the guys that I was watching while I was working at the Comedy Store. I was doing them. I'm sure that my mannerisms and all of that. I mean that's what we all do. But I didn't drink. I stayed away. Whenever I heard, hey man, somebody over there said that you did a joke, I was like, who? So I'll walk up to him and go, hey, man, I heard that you said that this is the joke that I do. Is that the joke that you do? Yeah. Oh, one of us, has to stop it. It just kept going like that. I tried to do everything right. I didn't drink. I didn't hang out with comedians. I didn't talk shit about other comedians. I still, to this day, don't talk shit about other comedians. And I'm going to be honest with you. It's not always easy. It's not always easy to go on the attack and want to point out, other people's flaws, other people's shortcomings. When all that stuff went down and I stopped doing my Mencia, what ended up happening was I thought to myself, I did it right. My mom and dad have a house. I'm going to be okay from now on, no matter what happens. I'll deal with it. I'll figure it out. I'll be the first comedian. This was what I was thinking back in the day, about 10 years ago. I will be the first comedian that got raped by the internet, and everybody, believes the worst. And I'll be the first to be able to overcome that shit someday. Like, that's how I looked at it. But I also thought, it's time for me to be unguarded. And so I started going therapy and trying to figure stuff out. I want to be able to have a drink and let loose and let it go. And, now sometimes toward the end of shows, somebody will send me a shot on stage and I'll say, okay, guys, look, from now on, if you guys want me to drink, it's going to be a weird show. But look, this is a different, like, I let them know, like, this is going to be different. Because when people come to shows and they're drinking and they're having fun, they're under the impression that if you get drunk like them, you're both still going to have fun, but they don't understand that when you're doing stand-up, you're driving the bus, and when you're drunk, you're a drunk fucking driver. And so it's not going to be a smooth ride from that point on. It just isn't, man. It becomes, sometimes it's funner, sometimes it's not, but I do know this much. The LPMs, right? Laughs per minute, the amount of seconds that I speak for the amount of seconds that people are laughing exponentially goes to the talk part. When like if I take more than 3 to 4 shots on stage, I'm gonna talk way more than I get laughs. Now, it might be about some stuff that I normally won't talk about, or whatever it is, but it just goes to a different place. My point is, I started, experimenting, with that kind of stuff, at 42. So it's only been 8 years since I've had a drink, and I don't like getting ripped. Um, I don't mind having a couple of drinks, and like I don't mind having a glass of wine, 2 glasses of wine every other day, and then getting sleepy and going. I just don't like when especially on a weekend, because here's what happens for you guys in this ad. So I'll give you an example of this week. I'm flying into Wednesday night. I'm flying into Chicago because I'm gonna be on my buddy Mancow morning show on Thursday. Thursday night I don't have a show, so I'm gonna try to just have a decent night because I gotta get up the next morning and still do radio and television to promote the shows for the weekend. Now, that's so Thursday night. Kind of keep it chill. But here's what happens if I don't. Right, Cisco, my opening act, gonna show up on Thursday and say, "Well, what are we doing?" Well, I don't know. Well, let's go hang out at a bar. So then we'll have two to three too many drinks, and I'll wake up in the morning, but I'm not gonna feel good. And once I'm done at about 10 to 12, then I'm gonna sleep until 5 o'clock. Then at 5 o'clock, I'm gonna go to the comedy club, set up all the recording equipment because I still record every single show that I do ever since 1994, I think. So I know when I wrote a joke, where I wrote a joke, when I first came up with something, and I can also go back and go, oh my God, how did I used to do that bit? And then kind of retool it if it becomes fun again and new again. So I don't have to write stuff down. I just archive it, and put it digitally on some kind of base.
It's always fun when I'll watch you sometimes, and then you go, as we like to call it, the treasure chest.
Oh, you like
That's
that,
always
dude?
cool.
Oh my God, dude! Every time I
come
do
out
that,
with old ass bits, and we just cry laughing.
I love doing that. I love feeling so comfortable with an audience that I could do a bit that I wrote 20 years ago or 25 years ago. It's really fun, and it's fun that it still works. You know what I mean? It's fun that they're still funny. They feel weird to me because they're dated. But here's another little thing. I love Carrot Top. I think he's hysterical, and I love watching him. And whenever I do old jokes, it reminds me of opening up a chest and pulling out old jokes. And every time I think of that, I kind of in my head go, ha ha ha, Carrot Top. It's just really, it's a little moment for me that nobody else knows about, that nobody knows. And then I'll look at Bert and go, going in the chest, bro. And then I guess he enjoys the whole, but that's because Bert was a part of the show on the road for about the first, 15 years?
Yeah.
So for about the first 15-ish years, he was on the road with me. He was, the guy working with me. And then after that, he became the stay here guy, and somebody else comes on the road. So I think he kind of gets nostalgic when I do jokes that I used to tell 15 years ago that he actually remembers seeing the audiences like die to or laugh to. I don't know. I just I put that stuff out there so everybody knows. But anyway, back to, I apologize. So back to what I was saying. So then I'm tired, and I hated that I slept the whole day and I didn't do anything, and I could have went somewhere, and I should have went somewhere, and maybe I should have done a recording somewhere of some place, but no, of course. So then we gotta go, to the club, and then 2 shows, and then if on that Friday night I drink, I don't have to get up the next day, so I'm like, whatever, right? So okay, we'll get drunk. Then all of a sudden, the next day I wake up at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and barely have time to go have dinner and go to the shows on Saturday night. And then it just becomes drink, sleep, show, and no life. Nothing. Fuck that. I hate that shit. I can't. I want to go. As an example, as soon as I'm done here, I'm gonna go home and I'm gonna shoot a video for people in Chicago, because I've been going to Chicago forever, and there are certain things that are very much only deep dish pizza, the hot dog place where they kind of scream at you, but one thing is Italian beef. Italian beef sandwiches are pretty much only there. Like, I don't know anywhere else where Italian beef is really popular and they sell the sandwiches. And there's a place called Portillo's that I've been going to forever. But people keep telling me, no, you got to go to this other place and this other place. So I'm going to put it out there. What's the best Italian beef? Is it, and I don't think I'm going to say is it Portillo's because I don't want to, you know what I mean? I don't want to hedge the bet. I'm just going to say, which one is it? I know there's a few. I want to know which ones. And whichever ones outside of Portillo's, if they get a lot of responses, then I'm going to want to go to one of those at some point just to eat it, just to do a video and say, hey, check this out. Like in Albuquerque, God, there was this amazing place. If I'm not mistaken, it's called Slow Roasted Red Chili. Oh, it's a tiny little place, and I mean, go to the archives and check it out. You just have to go there. And then I wanted to know where to get a good taco this last weekend in Arlington, and I went to a few of the places.
Virginia.
Yeah, but I didn't want to say the bad ones because there were some that, yeah, they were okay. But then there was a taco truck called El Chilango. Dude, that place was ridiculous. And so I put it out there. But I went there, at noon and had some tacos. Felt a little fat and worked out. And I want to do that. I want to do that way more than I want to get drunk every night and then have my life just simply be a blur of days and nights drinking and nothing else to have and live. Ugh. I don't know. I can't do that all the time. Now you guys for a while there were like getting hammered every weekend, bro.
Oh, yeah.
How was that? Did that feel good?
No,
did that
not
feel
at all.
bad? What was it like?
Yeah, it really doesn't feel good. I mean, some people like it, but I don't. I mean, I got tired of it. So now, I mean, I don't drink that much anymore.
Right? It's like like yesterday was perfect for me.
Yeah, we had, two bottles of sake?
We have two big bottles of sake, so that's one large hot sake for him, one large hot sake for me, and then we got a small one that only had like 1.5 of those little things. So, we had 1.5 each. I got a nice buzz, and here's the thing, I love sake, and I don't know how it works for you, bro. Sake gets me buzzed quick, but for some reason I metabolize it, and the buzz goes away like really quick. Like by the time I got home last night, an hour later, I couldn't go to sleep and I had to take an edible
Oh, wow.
because the buzz went away that quick.
Right.
It's different than any other alcohol for me.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't really like hot sake, but I know you do, so that's why I drink. I like cold sake myself.
No, I love cold sake, but the thing about hot sake is if I order hot sake, I'm not gonna drink too much of it.
That's true.
Because it's
the cold one we would have went through 4 or 5 bottles.
Exactly. If it was good, because we get the cold sake that's really good and sweet and the junmai ginjo stuff. I love junmai ginjo, and you do that stuff. Oh my God! I mean, you'll get really hammered, but that's why. You see what I'm saying? I choose to do the hot because to me it tastes like this stuff called chicha, and chicha is what poor people.
It's titty. Oh no, I'm sorry.
That's chicha.
Oh, sorry.
Chicha in Honduras is they make it out of corn, and they just put corn in water and put some other stuff and let it ferment, and the alcohol that comes from that, and they just make it in a bucket. They call it chicha. And so when I was a kid, my dad let me taste a little bit of it, and this stuff hot sake reminds me of chicha, and I like drinking it because it reminds me of everything that was simple in my life. And living in Honduras was so fucking beautiful for me because I lived here and I got to see and grow up in Los Angeles, in a big city surrounded by people and money and poor people mixed with middle class, mixed with all this amazing shit. And then go to this place called Sico, Honduras, where they didn't have cars. If you had a horse, you were somebody. If you could buy a gun, I mean, they literally walked around with guns in holsters like back in the days, man. And yet those people were so humble and so beautiful, and I loved living in a simple world like that where everything made sense and there's no ego and no bullshit. It was just people that were happy. And don't get me wrong, there were always there were always people that had envy. But the thing about my dad was, my dad still lives there a lot. And he's the guy that people come to. Hey, Don Pablo, my son fell on a machete and he cut himself open and he's bleeding to death. We need to get in a small, one of those little Cessna 608s or 806s, I'm not sure, 5-seaters, to come and pick up our kid. My dad would use a CB radio to call another dude with a CB radio to call another dude with a CB radio. They would call somebody that's about an hour and 15 minutes away, flight called La Ceiba, which is the nearest city, and they would come. The plane would land. They would take the kid, and my dad would pay for that flight to come and get it. And then those people, whoever that was, were never assholes to my dad. They were never envious of my dad. They never looked at my father like you're rich, you went to America and you're rich and fuck you. They were always just happy. And Bert will tell you he went there and everything was Don Pablo. That's my dad, Don Pablo, Don Pablo, Don Pablo. Everybody respected him because he gave back. It's part of the reason why, ironically, in a good and a bad way, right? Some people, some of the openers that I've had a bad experience. Some of the openers that I've had unbelievable experiences opening for me. The interesting thing is, I tried to any human being, any stand-up comedian I ever saw that I thought was worth a shit, and they were young, I asked them to work the road with me at one point in time, and a lot of those guys became my openers for years. I haven't done it as much in the past 4 years because I got burned, and it kind of sucks. Now listen, I don't pay my openers very well. I'm not gonna lie to anybody, and it's not because I'm cheap, but it's because when I find somebody at the Improv in Addison, Texas, who's getting 1 to 2 maybe shows, a week, performing maybe at a couple of gigs here and there, doing 5 minutes, and I say, come on the road with me, and you're gonna do 6 to 8 shows a week, and you're gonna be doing 10 to 20 minutes a show. Trust me, you're gonna get better. It's so funny, dude. I was talking to anyway, I was talking to a comedian from back in the day, and he said to me, we were having this great conversation, bro. And you know what? It was Gene Pompa. And first of all, dude, I was so humbled that Gene said to me, dude, back in the day when you invited me to come on the road with you, I can't believe that my ego was so big I didn't go. That was a big mistake on my behalf. And I was like, nah, man, you were always fucking unbelievably funny. And he goes, yeah, but here's the problem, dude. I would see comedians go that were kind of funny, but not really funny, and you would take them on the road, and a year later I would see them, and I'm like, what the fuck happened to this guy? This guy's killing it. I'd see what you produced. I would see what these guys were okay, and this is his opinion. I never thought they were okay. I always thought they had something. But in his opinion, he saw average talent turn into killing monster talent, and it was pretty cool to hear his perspective on it. You know what I mean? It was pretty cool for another comedian to, and then the interesting thing is, I'm sitting there with him, we're both having drinks, and I go, this is probably what I should have been doing in some respect way back in the day, befriending comedians like you and hanging out and having a drink and kind of being vulnerable. But we each have our paths. That's why I named this The Journey, man, because that's what it is. It is totally and completely about the journey in the moment, and you got to live in it. You can't be anywhere else but here. I can think of changing the future, but I can only change the future in the now, and I can only look back and learn from my past, or reminisce, or love, or not. Whatever those things are, they all happen in the now, and that's the journey, man. And it's interesting to have the many phases of my career that I have now. And now I'm like a kid again, man. I'm inspired by all the ability to put my stuff out there like a young comedian, you know. Now the difference is, of course, that if nobody had ever seen me perform and I was putting out these bits of Mencia, I'm sure people would be like, fuck, you gotta see this comedian, man. His name is blah blah blah. You gotta check him out. Have you ever seen this shit? No, I've never seen it. Oh my god. And people would want to share it. It's tough, or it's different, not tough, but it's different when you're maybe it is tough. I don't know. I hate saying that it's tough because then it makes me kind of, it brings me down thinking about that shit. You know, like people ask me, what's it like to do a year where you do 51 weeks on the road, not straight, but you know, weekends. And I'm like, it's awesome. It's great to go to, you know, Chicago and kill them for a weekend, or you know, whatever it is. Seeing the look on faces and taking pictures with people, and you know, doing VIPs in front. And sometimes I'm not in the best of mood, and to see these people, you know, hey man, we drove 4 hours to see you. Hey, we've been seeing you, you know, for 5 years straight or 10 years straight, or hey, we haven't seen you for 10 years. We're so excited. Whatever it is, all of those just get me so fired up, and I love it. But I guess I choose to look at it from a very positive perspective as opposed to a negative one. I'm not sure that that's the right thing to do, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? Maybe I should maybe I should actually show the vulnerability in it. It's hard for me. I just don't have those days very often. It's very it's very rare for me to feel sorry for myself. I just feel like there are people in this world that have way bigger problems than Carlos Mencia, who's had the career that he's had, a little immigrant kid from Honduras, and, you know, to put my bullshit and say, you don't understand. I shouldn't say it that way because it belittles what I've gone through as far as, you know, being chastised, as far as people on the threads right now saying negative shit. It is not the easiest thing to do. I just kind of swallowed it and made it my own, and maybe you know, it's time for me to open up to you guys about that kind of stuff. I just feel like there's a time and place for it, and the time and place is rarely when I'm excited about doing a podcast or talking about something. I think the last time it happened, you know what? The next time I'm around Cisco and Kevin Dombrowski and Cisco Duran, who kind of opened for me a little, and Theo opens as well, but he wasn't there. I'm going to do a podcast just with them, and even if it's somewhere else and it's not live, just to talk about the day when I was having those issues, and because I can't speak to it the way they can. I can't kind of remember the moment the way they will. But you know what? The next time we're all together, I'm going to take the time to record a podcast with us. Not going to be live, I don't think. Maybe it can, but I'm not sure. But I'm definitely going to have you guys listen to that moment where I was, you know, thinking like, shit, I wish I could quit doing comedy right now. I'm not going to feel this way in an hour or 3 or 8 or a day or a week or a month, whatever it is. But I wanted to not step on stage. And it wasn't too long ago. But anyway, that's not right now. How we doing on time today, bro?
We're it's time to wrap it up.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, there we go, man. That's what the journey is about. I don't come here with any preconceived notions. If and when there's somebody that I want to interview that's really, really important, I'm going to do it. But I just don't have this preconceived notion of the show where every week I'm going to, you know what? I love a lot of the people that I would like to interview, so to speak, because I love them. Brad Williams and guys like that. But you know what? Those guys have podcasts. Those guys have done shows before. So unless it's something interesting and really compelling that I think you guys need, and if you guys have any ideas, please, Carlos Mencia at carlosmencia.com. Just send me an email and I'll go through them, and maybe that'll be interesting. But other than that, man, I just feel like, hey, you know, it's not like I ever run out of shit to say, man. So, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of producer Bert and myself, this has been today's journey. And remember, if you ain't laughing, you ain't living. Peace out.
I ain't no hollaback girl.